Hello everyone out there on the inner tubes. This hour, Talkaholic Texts. This is series number 15, and this is class 3 out of 4, and today is our big debate. More about that in just a moment. First, 3 quick rules to help you with my class. Turn off, tune in, and open up. Turn off means is Google Hangout and Verbling are 2 different things. More about that in a moment if you have trouble. Rule number 2 is tune in to the new words you're learning and use them as actively as possible during the class. And rule number 3 is open up to your classmates. Remember, this is a safe and respectful place to practice your English. So be open, let me give you feedback, and let's learn together. So that's a little bit about my rules. Let's try to bring everyone up to speed on where we've been so far. So in the first class, we were introduced to a very interesting idea. 18 states in the United States have begun to reform their prohibition laws against certain drugs, what we call recreational drugs. First with medical use, and then later on with recreational use. So first it was, for example, medical marijuana, things like that. So in the first class, we just got sort of brainstormed and talked about our ideas about, what our position was about that, how we felt. Talked a bit about what the laws were like in our own countries and if there's something similar going on. In the second class yesterday, I wanted to turn to some facts, and I'd like to maybe begin the class with some of those facts again today. So we read a short editorial based on the comments of someone who's done quite a bit of research. Maybe we can watch a brief interview with him, maybe the first 2 or 3 minutes, which summarizes a lot of the same ideas. So we can talk about that today. In today's class, our third class, we're going to go a step further, and we're going to try to actually debate the issue. One crucial thing for today is that I'd like you to use the vocabulary that we've been using, that you've learned, to try to have this debate. So I've taken the liberty of putting all of the new and interesting and difficult words in bold in the articles that we've read so far, and I'd like you to try to use those as actively as possible. We'll take a look at those in just a moment. First, let's say a quick hello to our returning champions, Hazel and Ida. Hello, Hazel. Hello, Ida.
Hello.
Hello, John.
Glad to see you. And Mr. Ahmed, you made it to class. Let's see. Turn on your microphone, Ahmed, because I know you're having trouble. And if you look at your screen, up here, your microphone is gray when it's working, and if I turn it red, boom, you can't hear me when it's red. So make sure it's gray. Okay? And Ahmed, write in the chat window if you're having any problems, just so I can help you out. Okay? I'm not sure if he can hear me. Okay. And by the way, all of you out there, the 20 to 25 viewers out there, feel free to come into class because we've got a bunch of reservations, but we definitely have some free seats. Okay, Ahmed, it's good that you can hear me. Try to unmute your microphone so that you can take part in the discussion. Okay, if you've got a question, just write it in the chat box and we'll try to help. So, while everyone's joining the class, here's what I'd like to do. First of all, let me ask Hazel and Ida. Oh, by the way, John, hello. Come into class. We've got plenty of room. Don't stay out there being friendly. Come in here and be friendly. Hazel and Ida, what did you learn yesterday? Or I asked at the end of class if your opinions had changed in any way after reading the editorial by Glenn Greenwald, who's an activist and a scholar in the United States. What facts maybe were new? I mean, we didn't really talk a lot about the facts. So what did you pick up from the article, the second thing we read yesterday? Anything new?
I have a question because I have watched the video on YouTube, and I really don't understand what is the main or the real difference between decriminalization and legalization.
Okay.
I don't know.
Big difference. Big difference.
Yeah. I don't understand the. No,
Okay.
I don't know.
May I try? I think I understand this.
Yeah, go for it.
When you want to legalize something, you just legalize it. But when you decriminalize
it.
When you decriminalize, you make something legal, which was before illegal.
But in the practice, it's the same.
No, not at all. Because if it's decriminalized, it's not legal. It's just not illegal.
Yeah, but it's the same, isn't it?
It's not the same because, let me see, decriminalization would mean that you can't. Well, I'll tell you what. Rather than me explain it, let's watch the first 2 minutes of the video.
Okay.
Oh, Ahmed, I can hear you.
Yes, yeah, I am with you now. Thank you.
Wow. So you got your microphone working.
Yeah, hello everybody.
Excellent. And where are you from, Ahmed?
I am from Egypt.
You're from Egypt. Okay, great to have you. Well, I don't know where everyone else is, but we've got a lot of people watching. I hope some of you watching will come into class and keep us company, because it's lonely in here. It's too quiet. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. That video has, if nothing else, really good vocabulary. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play the first 2 minutes, and I'm going to put the video, the link in the chat window. Give me just a second. And by the way, Ahmed, make sure you've got our document, our shared document open as well. Okay? If you need the link, just let me know.
Yeah, please.
Okay. Hazel, could you put the link there?
Sure.
If you don't mind?
No, of course I don't mind.
Okay. Okay, while she's doing that, I'm going to load up the YouTube video, and I'm going to try to write some vocabulary that he's using in the chat window, if I'm able to do it quickly, because he's obviously not speaking for non-native speakers. So I think that's part of the problem, is it's difficult to follow along.
He speaks really quickly.
Yeah, even for me, he speaks quickly.
I didn't watch the video.
Okay, well, let's watch it together. There's the link in the chat room, if anyone wants the link. And we're going to play just the first 2 minutes. Okay, and make sure you accept the YouTube app, which Hazel just posted. Okay, Ahmed, you have to press OK on the YouTube app in order to watch the video.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
If everyone's ready, let's see if we can play it.
The author of several best-selling books. Let's talk about drug decriminalization in Portugal. Lessons related to marriage assessment policies. First, tell us what is the difference in Portugal.
Okay, I want to just pause it for 1 second, because as you can see, the interviewer is speaking really, really fast. So, Ida, what's the context for this interview? What does the interviewer set up, just in case it's not clear? What are they discussing?
The issue of the decriminalization in Portugal.
Okay. And why is Portugal significant to this debate, would you say? Is something special about Portugal? What's different between Portugal and Spain?
I don't know.
Isn't legal in Portugal marijuana, as I understand yesterday?
Yeah, well, that's what he's saying. Portugal took a very bold step, and they decriminalized. They decriminalized soft drugs, recreational drugs.
Yes, so it's legal now.
Well, it's
no?
decriminalized.
It's the same.
It isn't the same? I thought it's the same. When
Yeah,
you
it's the same.
decriminalize is
Not exactly.
legal. No.
Not exactly.
Okay.
But let's listen to the first 2 minutes of the interview, because I believe that Glenn Greenwald explains the difference, if I remember right. If not, I'll give you the... Oh, hang on a second here. So here we go.
The idea that legalization whereas the law but it not the state is going to explain very quickly what happens. What was interesting is
so let me stop there just for a second. He just explained the difference.
Yeah.
Want to give that back to us in plain English? Ida, Hazel, or Ahmed? By the way, a quick hello to Mr. Mad Sudam. Hello, Mr. Mad. How are you? Hello, Mad? Turn on your microphone, Mad. I can see you, but I cannot hear you. Okay, Mr. Mad Sudam, when you get your microphone on, say a quick hello to the group, okay? I think Mr. Mad is a little bit confused. Or you can write a message in the chat window as well. Okay, so in plain English, what would the difference be then?
But I understand the difference, the theory, okay, but if I think how to put this in the practice, I don't. For me, it's no difference, because for instance, if you have you are smoking marijuana and police come, what is the difference between being decriminalization or legalized? If you are not going to be punished for that, what is the difference?
You're not going to be punished, so you don't have to run away.
Yeah, so what is the difference of legalizing or decriminalizing? The result is the same?
The difference is that if it's legalized, the police will be smoking it.
Yeah, well, the police will smoke in every case, so it doesn't
maybe,
matter.
maybe. But in other words, it's not. So the only difference is that decriminalization means that you can't be punished, because there's no punishment attached to it, but it doesn't mean that it's acceptable. So there's nothing that they can do to enforce people to stop using it if it's decriminalized. They can do things, but nothing in the legal realm. What do you think?
For me, it's almost the same. In the practice, people will, if you decriminalize marijuana, people will understand as legalizing. Maybe they are not going to advertising so much like in Spain we do, for example, with alcohol or with tobacco, but in the practice, people will feel free to consume marijuana. So
but what about the other side? There's not just the consumers, right?
What side?
Well, the other side. Besides the consumers, the dealers, right?
Dealers?
Right? So the difference between, what would be, let me ask you, so what would be the difference between legalization and decriminalization from the side of the dealers?
Probably for dealers will be the same thing. They will be criminal.
Not at all.
No?
Not at all. Well, it depends on what you mean. Sorry, maybe I misunderstood.
I thought only for consumers won't be a punishment. Maybe for dealers will be punishment.
If they do what?
If they deal.
If they sell.
If they sell drugs,
right.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So I think that's really the point.
But what a dealer is? What is a dealer? Sorry.
Someone who sells.
Who sells?
Okay.
Yes.
Someone who sells.
Okay, I'm sorry, Mister, but I can't get the point. What is the difference between decriminalization and the
Legalization.
Yeah.
delegalization?
Well, okay.
Decriminalization and
I think basically the point is that you can't sell it, right? So if it's decriminalized, you can't be punished, right?
yeah, okay.
You can't be punished, but that doesn't mean you can sell it. If you sell it, maybe that's still illegal, right? But the consumer, if it's decriminalized, can't get punished. If it's legalized, you can sell it and consume it. So there's a difference between the two. What do you think? Is that a little clear? So
I think decriminalization equal to it's illegal. It's not legal.
Yes, it's not legal. It's not necessarily legal. Yes, you're probably right about that. Just because it's decriminalized, so let's say it this way. Decriminalized means that they've taken away the punishment. There's no more punishment. However, there's at least three parties here. There's, like, let's say the police, the state, there's the consumers, there's the dealers.
Yeah.
And so it may be legal, it may be illegal for one of those three. Well, I'm not going to say for one of the three. The police are obviously enforcing the law. So they may still have to enforce the law against one or other party. So I think that's really the point that he's trying to make, is that it doesn't mean that it's legal to sell, it just means that it's not legal to punish people who consume. And I believe that that is the experiment in Portugal that he's describing. This is in its 13th year, I think. So the video we're watching is a little bit old. So that's what he tries to explain. Let me see if we can just get one more. No, we're not going to have a lot of time. Actually, we better stop there with the video. But I think that's a crucial point, right? And by the way, Mr. Maan, do you have your microphone working now? Mr. Maan Saddam? Hello?
So at the moment, it is marijuana is legal, or it is just decriminalized in Portugal?
You're asking the wrong person.
No, I am asking the right person.
You're asking the wrong person because I don't really know. As far as I know, it's just decriminalized. I don't think you can actually be sold anywhere. But you can't be caught with it. There may be an amount that you can't possess, like over a certain amount, but I'm not 100% sure. Because I live here, but I don't know. I don't know the details. But actually, in the rest of the interview, I think he may talk about it. What's important here is that I want to take a look. Hang on a second here. I'd like you to go down on our worksheet to class number 3. When you do, hang on a second, it'll look like this on your screen. Everyone see that?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So, in the past, I've tried to do this, and I've decided to make things a little bit simpler this time. I was going to give everyone one point of view to argue from. Your goal is basically to summarize the argument that you're going to read and try to defend that point of view. And everyone else in the class would do the same, or kind of play devil's advocate. So, Hazel, could you just read the debate that we're going to have, where it says room for debate?
Yes.
Go for it.
A room for debate. Washington State and Colorado are trying to figure out how to legalize marijuana without encouraging use of or sustaining a black market. Soon the rest of the nation may be facing the same task. How can marijuana be legalized safely? What steps should governments take, and what should they avoid? Okay.
So, this is a little bit more progressive than just decriminalizing. Whoops. This is a little bit more progressive because now we're actually talking about legalizing. That means, Well, actually, we're going to read the debates, but here's what I'd like to do. I'd like to draw your attention. Well, basically, I'd like you to read and summarize. One quick point. Maybe I need to share my screen for this. Hang on a second. If you look up in class number 2 and in class number 1, you'll see a lot of words in bold. So when I opened the class, I said, I would really like you to make an effort to use those words in bold in the debate. So what I'd like to do is just quickly read through the words in bold from yesterday, because they really have a lot to do with what we're talking about. So actually, Ida, can I have you read through those words in bold under class number 2, facts?
Okay. Counterintuitive.
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 Mm-hmm.
Causal relationship.
Good.
Wall of fear. Stigma. Health issue. Criminal offense. Counseling. Inordinate. Whatever one's views on. Fair-mongering.
Don't forget grounded in as well.
Yeah.
Grounded in.
Grounded, yeah, sorry. Sorely lacking. Sorely lacking.
Okay, so these are all things that you could use in making your argument. Just good vocabulary words. We talked about this yesterday. In the previous article, I have a lot of words in bold, but not all of them are relevant. So some of the relevant ones are, okay, obviously legalization, decriminalization, to walk a line between something, a landmark case, which is a legal precedent. What else? Trafficking. Does everyone know what that means?
What?
Trafficking?
Yeah.
It's the same as what?
Selling in an illegal way.
Okay, selling. Right, yeah. Basically selling. Exorbitant costs. Another way to say very high.
Very high, yes.
Okay. And liberalization was another good key word from the first class. Okay, the other ones, yeah, okay, the other ones are not so necessary. So I would like you to try to take a look at those words and see if you can use them in having the debate. So we've got how many people now? 3 people? Why don't we do this? Let's give each of you one of these. I want to have you read through it for a moment. See if you can kind of summarize it, either to yourself, you can write it down if you want, and then I'm going to sort of be there to help play devil's advocate. So, let me see. Maybe I'll do one as well. So Hazel, can I ask you to do number 2, a risky habit that we shouldn't encourage? So that's all the way down on, I don't know what page it is. Hold on a second. I'll put in the page numbers and I'll tell you. No, I don't want to do that. What did I just do? Hold on a second. I want to put page numbers, and it's not working. Give me just a second. Top of the page. Okay, so on page, yours is on page 7, and it's debate number 2.
A risky habit we shouldn't encourage?
That's it.
Okay, I found it.
Okay. Hang on a second. Give me a moment here. Okay. Well, maybe I can have Ida. Can I have you do number 6, which is on page I think 11?
Perfect.
Okay. And Ahmed, could I have you do number 1?
Okay, number 1.
Yeah. All right, which is right there on page 6.
How to regulate and how not to.
That is it. That's it.
Okay. I will try.
Okay. So basically, all you need to do is read or skim it. Try to understand the argument that's being presented. Okay. And then we're going to come together in let's say, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes, or if you need more time, I'll give you more time. And we're going to try to have a debate, and I'm going to present one point of view as well. Okay? How long do you think it'll take you to read through your text? Is 2 minutes enough time to get the general idea?
Okay, 2 minutes enough.
Yeah? Is that okay, Ida?
Yeah.
Hazel?
Yes, I guess.
Okay.
And we should be a devil's advocate.
You're going to argue the point of view that you're reading.
Okay.
It doesn't matter if it's your point of view.
I understand.
All right. So I want you all to ignore me for the next 2 minutes. Okay? If you need to, turn off your sound. Okay? So I want you to concentrate, and then I will write in the chat box when time's up. And in the meantime, I might have a word with some people out there in the chat window. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So go. I'll see you in about 2 or 3 minutes. Okay, for you people out there watching, like Diego, if you want to join, remember you just have to create a free account at Verbling. And by the way, I'm just going to mute the three so I don't hear you, and then you can turn it back on when we do the debate. Okay, and so for you, those of you out there watching, you can create a free account on Verbling, and then when you come to this class, there's a big green join button. And remember, you get 1 ticket per day for free. So if you want to just try it out, there's always a way for you to try out at least 1 class per day. So Diego, if that helps, you can give it a shot. If you get another question, please put it in the chat window. And if there's any other questions, just let me know. We're going to give our 3 classmates here a little bit of time to think and to read through an argument, and I think I'm going to do the same. Okay? But I'll be monitoring the chat window, so if there's anything you want to talk about, just put a question in the chat window. Okay? And we'll take it from there. So I'm going to turn this off, and if I see questions, I'll be back. Okay, how are we doing? Remember, I muted you, so you have to turn your mic back on.
Yes.
Okay, I think it's okay.
Okay, excellent. Ida, you about ready? Maybe Ida is not ready. Okay, one thing I wanted to point out here. Well, actually, let's see if Ida is there. Can you hear me, Ida? Or she's away. She traveled far away to read her article, and now she's not back. Oh no, you're here. Okay.
No, she's here.
Okay. So one thing I wanted to say about your question, Ida, one of the differences, I was looking at the text from yesterday, and maybe it's not very clear. But if you look at the third paragraph of yesterday's text about the facts, it says, paragraph 3, treating drug addiction as a health issue, not a criminal offense, means the right solutions can be found. Counseling is far more effective than prison in turning addicts into non-users. Okay, that's not very clear, but if we're talking about... We lost her. Are you back, Ida?
Can you?
Yeah, there we go. I can hear you. I did hear you a second ago. So listen, Ida, in the third paragraph of yesterday's text, the one I was just reading, it talks about drug addiction as a health issue, right? Well, Ida, just type in the chat window if I can hear you, if you can hear me. Yes, okay, good. So, one point about decriminalization is really in that paragraph, but maybe it's not that clear. First of all, there's a difference between hard drugs and soft drugs. So I think one of the points here is that if you're addicted to hard drugs, in the old days in Portugal, you would go to jail. And there was as he says in the video, there was a problem that was spiraling out of control. There was a huge addiction problem. So they took the radical step of decriminalizing it and treating it as a health issue. So, and in that text specifically, it says, counseling is far more effective than prison in turning addicts into non-users. So, what do you think they did with addicts if counseling was more effective? What do you think they did? Hazel, Ahmed, if counseling is a more effective way, what do you think they did with the addicts?
They treated the psychologist, maybe.
Psychologists, and not just that, they would give them the option of getting detoxification, to go to a detox program, like basically go to a clinic. And you're right, a trained psychologist would be on staff, medical people would be there, and the first thing was to get them detoxed and then try to treat the underlying condition. And so in the video, he's a little bit more clear, but he doesn't go into a lot of detail, but it was a resounding success. Before the experiment, the population was really divided on whether decriminalization was a good idea or not. Afterwards, the population is apparently unanimously, or pretty much overwhelmingly, for it. Maybe not unanimously. So it seems to be very successful. And, well, I'll leave it at that. So decriminalization means also treating it as a health issue, not as a criminal act. So that would be another way to look at it. Anyway, just wanted to make that clear because I think it was a bit confusing earlier. Okay, so our debate is about this question. How can marijuana be legalized safely? What steps should governments take, and what should they avoid? Well, Hazel, why don't you start us off? Tell us who you are and what you think.
So I have to be on this lady's side, not against her.
Yes, okay. We're not even going to call you Hazel. We're going to call you what's your name?
Mrs. Evans.
Mrs. Evans. Okay. So Mrs. Evans, how would you answer that question about how drugs should be safely legalized?
Oh, I think these only soft drugs as marijuana should be legalized in a direction that only for medical uses, and they should be sold in pharmacy, because researchers showed that marijuana has a very bad effect on especially teenagers, upon teenagers, and it decreases their IQ with 8 until 10%, and also cannabis use increase the risk for schizophrenia.
Oh my God.
Yes, the researchers showed this.
And what are your qualifications, Ms. Evans? What do you do? Who are you exactly?
I am an associate professor of psychiatry at Harvard Medical School.
Oh, okay. I don't trust those people. Okay. Excellent.
And the director of the Center for Addictive Medicine at the
Wow.
Massachusetts General Hospital.
Okay. All right. Interesting. I wonder how Massachusetts is handling its drug problem. Interesting. Okay. So maybe everyone could do a short presentation the way Ms. Evans just did first to get our ideas out on the table. So, in a nutshell, Ms. Evans, you think it's okay for medical use, right?
Yes.
In a nutshell, that's a good expression. In a nutshell,
Yes.
it's okay for medical use, but where are the limits?
The limits with prescription as other medicines like Xanax or other drugs for treat, or morphine or
Okay. So
drugs like this.
So it needs a prescription, because you know when you have a prescription that never stops people from being addicted, right?
No.
Didn't
No,
you-
because the doctor should give the prescription to ill people
Right.
with
Did
cancer
you
or
ever
other
see the
diseases.
American TV show Dr. House?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
I know him.
I need not say anymore. Okay. So let's go to you, Mr. Ahmed. You're going to do a similar presentation first, then we're going to have our debate.
Oh,
So
I am not Mr. Ahmed. I am Mark Kleiman. I am a
Mark.
professor.
Oh.
Yeah, I am a professor of public policy at UCLA and visiting fellow at the National Institute of Justice.
Wow, you sound really important.
Yeah,
Excellent.
yes, I am.
Fantastic. So,
Yes.
Mr. Mark Kleiman, how would you deal with this problem about legalizing marijuana or maybe any drug safely?
Okay, we have to regulate this issue, and we have to monitor what we do and modify it by time, because we will deal with a new issue for us. Okay, if we legalize the marijuana, it will be a new market. So
Okay.
the new
A
market,
new commercial market, you mean?
yeah, it will be
I
a commercial
see.
market. It will be a legal commercial market, but we have to make some sort of limitations or regulations, you know, like tobacco or something like alcohol, so we can restrict the marketing issues.
Right, right.
Okay.
So,
Mhm.
okay, sorry, continue. Was there something else?
Yeah. So there is an economic view for this issue. We have to keep the price in right place, not too high and not too low. We can deal with this issue by regulate the taxes.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
So we can deal with this market as any commercial market. We as a state, we as voters, we as anyhow who will deal with this.
And how will regulating the price or the taxes make it safer and discourage? We don't want to encourage people, right?
No, we discourage by limit the marketing process. No media, no whatever.
I see. Okay. So not just price controls, but access to media.
Yeah.
Interesting. Because right now, as an illicit street drug, that they have a lot of access to media. I mean, what would be the difference between what's happening now and if it were legalized? Just curious. So hold on to that thought for a second, Mr. Mark Kleiman. Hold on to that second. Ida, who are you going to play in this debate?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
So
I am Kilmer, and I am the co-director of the Drug Policy Research Center, and I am the co-author of Marijuana Legalization.
Okay, so your Bo, by the way, in English, Bo. It looks like Bew, right? But it's actually Bo, I believe. Bo Kilmer.
Okay, Bo Kilmer.
Okay. Co-author of Marijuana Legalization, What Everyone Needs to Know. Interesting. What does everyone need to know, Bo?
What everyone should know is that most of the marijuana these days is imported from Mexico to the United States. So
only the good stuff. Sorry, go ahead. I said only the good stuff. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, and this creates nearly $1 billion of revenues to Mexico, but as well, trafficking generates violence. The question is that if marijuana is legalized in all the United States, not in just two states of two parts in Colorado and in Washington, in all the United States, okay, the revenues of Mexico will clearly decrease, but will also the violence decrease at the same time? That's the question.
Do you have an answer to that? Does Bo have an answer?
I guess that yes, it will decrease the violence, but I'm not sure.
So Bo isn't telling us everything we need to know, only some of what we need to know. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we've got three different viewpoints. How are we going to solve the problem? First of all, we have to let me ask you a question. So which of the three of you are for decriminalization, first of all? Or are all of you for it?
We were the...
What is the question?
For decriminalization.
For decriminalization, okay.
Yeah.
I personally or Miss...
We're not talking to you. We're talking to Mark and Bo and whatever your name was. Evans. Okay. That's who we're talking to. Mm-hmm. So which of you are for decriminalization? Any of you?
I prefer to say
no.
Yes.
I don't agree with the legalization.
Mm-hmm. And principally, why not?
Because
marijuana
makes more harm for people than good.
It does more harm than good.
Harm.
It does more harm than
More
good.
harm.
Bo, what do you think about that idea? What would you respond to that? That it does more harm than good. And Evans is talking about
And especially for teenagers, drugs do more harm.
More harm than good, and you're talking about psychologically and physiologically, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, Bo, what would you say about that? How would you answer that? That's not exactly your perspective. You're not focused on the individual. You're talking more about the social problem, right, Bo? Bo is Ida. Ida, you're Bo, right?
Yeah. Sorry. I don't.
Yeah. When I say Bo, I'm talking to Ida.
I think what happened was both. Sorry.
No, you're Bo. I'm
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
sure you're Bo. So,
Yeah.
I know your focus is not on individuals, it's on the social problem. But what would you say to that idea that it does more harm than good, especially to teenagers?
Yeah, but
Particularly,
yeah. So it may be a good idea to legalize, but you have to be over 21, so teenage or over 25 if it's necessary, so teenagers can consume marijuana, so the problem will be solved.
interesting. So raise the age limit even higher than alcohol.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting. Mr. Kevin Nielsen
Yeah.
or Mark,
Yeah, yeah.
what's your name?
Mark Kevin.
Mark, whatever.
Mark Kleiman.
Mark Kleiman. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Mr. Mark, do you think that raising the age of consumption will discourage use and make it a safe way to You're the one talking about the market. Is this the way to regulate the market? What Bo was saying.
Yeah, but let me reply or argue Mrs. Evans
Okay.
talk about she said that the decriminalization will be more harmful. Yeah,
It'll do more harm
More
than
harm.
good. Do more harm than good.
she said that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but actually, the reality in the actual market, it both. If we let it as it is, with with nothing in
No
laws.
repercussions, you mean? You mean no repercussions, or you mean don't change it from its current state?
Yeah, if we don't change it.
Okay.
Uh-huh. You know what my point is, we will regulate the market to less harmful, to help the teenager, to help the people when the marijuana will be available, like alcohol or tobacco, the consumption will decrease automatically.
I don't think so, sorry. Legalization also increases availability, and young people could quickly buy and consume, and they don't care for later effects on their brain.
So
you can. Yeah.
Wait.
You can treat this issue by social media, social marketing, and so on. But we have a real case now. We have a reality. We can look at the reality. You see the teenager.
You see teenagers. When you're speaking in general, just pluralize, right? You see teenagers doing what? Yeah.
Yeah, you see teenagers buy the marijuana in an easy way, no problem with them.
Yes, but why should we legalize the consumption of marijuana, and they will have they will very easily buy and consume. And another issue is today marijuana is more potent than ever, and the researches showed that the levels of substances in new products which are on the market are more increased than ever, and
are higher than ever.
And also the dependence will be very difficult to treat later.
You mean addiction?
Addiction, yes.
Okay, so people's dependence on it or their addiction will be much harder to treat later because it's become more potent than before?
Yes,
more potent.
The substance is more potent than ever.
Interesting.
But why?
Yeah, why?
only because the labs, the researchers from labs show that this marijuana is now different from the others period from older times.
They've gone high tech and they've made super weed. Is that it?
Something like that.
Okay. Well, let me jump in here on the debate as well. I'm not sure whose side I'm taking, but so first of all, right now, talking to Evans, right now, perhaps the marijuana is being cut with other substances to make it more potent, to be more marketable in the black market, because people say, oh, it's really strong. But in fact, if it was regulated, those toxic additives could be taken out. Or it could be cultivated in a way that's healthier so that if you do take it recreationally, maybe it'll be more potent, but just in a more natural way. Because I think the point is it's unregulated. You don't know what you're buying. So wouldn't that cut down on the problem you were saying that it's causing possibly schizophrenia in teenagers, but maybe because of the other additives? What do you think about that, Evans?
This is my side, you know.
Oh, okay. I'm on your side. I didn't know I was on your side.
Yeah.
And what is Bo's side about this? What about the bigger financial issue here? Bo is bringing up that's Ida. Bo is bringing up a very good point. There's something cultural going on between at least two countries. In fact, it's a lot more than two. But okay, between Mexico and the United States. Bo, would you say that if we legalize it, how much money are they making at the moment? You said $1 billion?
Yeah, nearly $1 billion.
Nearly $1 billion.
Yeah.
Okay. So, are you saying that if by legalizing it, we are effectively we're going to have an adverse effect on the economy of a country? In fact, there's going to be farmers that are dependent on that are not going to have that income anymore. So we can't do it for that reason.
No, but at the same time, maybe we can reduce the violence, because it also creates a lot of violence, of kidnapping and a lot of things. So the trafficking of marijuana. So maybe we can solve that problem, so it will be better.
Okay. What? So maybe Bo and Mark have something to talk about here, because Mark wants to open up the market, and Bo is talking about the repercussions of opening up the market. So I wonder if we have an agreement there between the two of you about the right way to do this. So we want to cut down.
I hope, but I can't capture the word you said now about this, about her view.
By the way, I can't not capture, but grasp. We grasp ideas.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
I didn't say anything specific. I just said that maybe the two of you can come to some agreement because you're looking at the same issue from two sides. So she's saying that we need to she's saying, well, I don't want to speak for you, Bo, but you're basically saying that we need to, on one hand, deal with the trafficking issue and the violence that results, but on the other hand, there's this economic issue that by legalizing it here, we are effectively taking away a revenue stream for an entire country. I mean, $1 billion is quite a lot of money. Well, maybe not for a country, but it's something. So, did I understand you correctly? Is the $1 billion, is that money that is going to the wrong people? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes, but the thing also is that, well, the problem could be in a future, because that $1 billion and this problem, it will be if marijuana is legalizing in all the United States. So the point that now is we are trying to legalize just in Washington and in Colorado, so maybe it won't be so big, the problem.
Maybe it won't be such a big problem. Interesting. Okay, and maybe I can ask the three of you then. So, what would the right drug policy look like for soft or hard drugs that all three of you could agree with? If you had to pick one, what would it look like? Because that's the final question from yesterday's class. Go ahead, Mr. Mark.
I think decreasing the marketing issues.
Okay, so handling its effect, its presence in the media. That's the first issue that has to be addressed. Okay?
Yeah.
Well, why don't all three of you give an opinion? So we've got Mark's opinion. Evans?
A personal opinion or
No.
Well,
a character's opinion now.
We don't have enough time for personal opinions. But tomorrow, at the same time, as long as we get more than 3 people, we can have our final class, which will be a very interesting and creative class where you can give your personal opinion. I sure hope more than 3 people sign up, because we've got all those people out there in the internet watching us right now. Hello, people. Come into class sometime.
Hello.
All those people out there. 45 people watching. So, final comments, Bo and Evans. What would the perfect policy look like? So, control of the presence in the media is one idea. Are you both in agreement on that as well?
Yes, I am in agreement.
So we got agreement. What would you add to that? Starting with Bo. What would you add to that? That's something essential that has to be done.
Something?
Essential. The next essential thing. What would our solution look like? So social media and advertising, it's controlled. It's not just, it's legalized, but you can't advertise exactly the way you can't advertise for cigarettes. Used to be able to, but now you can't.
It should be legalized, but not for people under 23 years or so.
Okay. Why 23? But okay. It was 25 earlier tonight. You lowered it to 23.
Well, okay, no, 25.
Okay. 25. Maybe something happened in the meantime. Okay. And Evans,
yes.
What are you going to add to that? What's the essential thing? So right now it's being legalized, but it can't be advertised, and it's not legal for people under 23.
Oh, so it's legalized already.
Well, so far, we got 2 out of 3.
Okay.
So?
Okay, then indeed, media should be...
What would you add to that, or what would you take away from it, to this policy that we're shaping right now? What would you add or subtract from it, from your point of view, Evans?
From my point of view, I insist not selling these drugs without recipes from a doctor, from a physician.
Recipes is Romanian. In English, we call that...
no. No recipe. Prescriptions. Sorry,
right.
Recipes for cooking.
Right.
Prescriptions. Without
okay.
prescription.
So, Mark and Bo, do you agree with that? You must have a prescription. You must be 23, and you can't see it on television or radio or internet or in print.
No, I don't agree with the with the first condition. Just with
Prescription.
prescription, yeah. I totally disagree.
Oh my God, we're going to have another class. All right. So listen, we're going to have to stop here. I'm going to post a description of tomorrow's class. I'm going to see how many reservations we have. Okay, but in all likelihood, we are going to go ahead with the last class. But I want to plan it because I'd like you to do something where you really get to create. I was thinking that you could actually try to create a policy for a particular place. I need to think about it and structure it. But I'm going to post that on Google Plus and Facebook so you can have a look. In the meantime, what else was I going to say? I'm going to post a word hunt, which I started but I didn't finish, but I'm going to finish it tonight. So for all that vocabulary we've read through, you're going to have a way to test yourself on it. At some point tonight, I'll post it, and you can try it out, and I'll give you the answers tomorrow. We can discuss them in class, but I'll give a link to the answer key as well. Okay, so that's it for now. Tomorrow at the same time, our fourth and final in the series on drug legalizations. So bye for now. Talk to me on Facebook or Google Plus if you have any questions or comments. Follow me on Verbling. If you want to see my schedule, just click Follow Teacher. And that's it for tonight. Hope to see you tomorrow at the same time.
Bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you for all of you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.